I think I have to speak about what is already happening in Montreal and many other places in the world. We are seeing the burgeoning or enormous growth of the local food movements. And there are many forms it takes, but then most of them starts from the fact that the local community is not serviced well by the multinational corporations, or the people are really awakening that, well, the food that they're getting is not good. So we see a lot of, say, community gardens, collective gardens. Community gardens are like people are getting the municipal lot to cultivate for their own. It's a collection of the small plots. And then collective garden is where people cultivate together and then share the produce. So it's different, but then home garden is also growing. But then some people had already done the home growing from the beginning. And in the United States, there are many condominiums features the rooftop gardens and stuff. And Association of the retailers report that the condo price goes up if you have a space for cultivation. It is not catching on in Montreal at all. Most of the new condo buildings will not have the space for the cultivation. They may have manicure gardens and so forth, but then even the restaurants attached to the hotels have the gardens. In Toronto, some hotels have that, even in Montreal too. So growing at home is one major movement. And then promoting the organic food production is another, by becoming the client of the food baskets. We call it Community Supported Agriculture, CSA. And by subscribing to the CSA baskets, what you get is a weekly supply or bi-weekly supply of fresh produce from the organic farmer that you know. But then the farmers are going to receive your payment at the beginning of the season, so that there is no fluctuation in their revenue depending on the weather or anything. So this is a risk-sharing arrangement between the producers and the consumers, and this is another way of approaching to the good produce. And of course, there are movements to promote the good, say, farmers market. Like here in Montreal, we have John Talon Market and Atwater Market, those two famous ones, but then most of the produce sold there is industrial food. But then there are pockets of the good farmers where you can have the organic produce, but you have to look for who is selling organic food in these. But then about 4-5 years ago, there was this movement in Montreal, and then the city has allowed to open a farmers market in any place in Plateau area, and then that really became an interesting movement. So people who do not have the land to cultivate, or who cannot cultivate because they are too busy, or they don't think they have green thumbs, can really create the market, and then they can approach to the good produce coming from the local organic farms. So I think these are how you really secure the good supply of organic food in local way. But then you have to start learning how to process it and how to cook it. And sometimes we see that the collective kitchen springing up. There are kitchen collectives, cooking collectives. It is popping up all over Montreal. And some clubs, you just cook at the weekend. Like you get together, you purchase the good produce and then cook together, and then you store it by freezing it for the week supply. And so there are many different ways of like enhancing your capacity to process the food into the meals that you can eat. And then I think there are organic restaurants, organic cafe popping up, all over Montreal, and this is another trend. Yet some of the establishments are really costly. So I think you may not be able to enjoy the organic food in a restaurant setting. But then if you want to really create an alternative, then you can create a solidarity co-op. to make the food affordable to the common people, that is members, and then to have the steady source of good food that you can continue to enjoy, even though, like, if you cook at home, you want to have like once in a while, eat out. But then those people who are aware of the good food cannot go to any other restaurant anymore because they are aware that what kind of bad food they get. And I noticed that even the good food suppliers, like Robin de Bois, they do not feature organic vegetable in the lineup. Why? Because of the cost. So it is usually the cost prohibitive to supply the good food at the restaurant price. But by creating the collective, it is possible to have access to ready to eat cooked food using the local organic food. And I think that's how in general people are expanding their capacity to control the food they eat, and then make their food life much more sovereign and nutritious.